All you gotta do is take a look on top, make sure the green light is on. Push the button. There you go. And you do have to set it a little closer to you. We do want to hear your melodious tones. Okay, and everything is up. I see I'm bouncing the mic all over here. Would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. First thing on the agenda is swearing in the newly elected officials. So, Kirk, Margaret, and myself, please stand. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, you all have a copy of the resignation of Shirley Walter. She is on the grievance board, and she decides she no longer wishes to be. We got to see what we can find to get a replacement for her. I don't know if you've noticed, we advertised in the Penny Saver, the Hub, and the Batavia Daily for a CEO. If I had known about this a little sooner, we could have thrown that advertisement in there as well. So we're going to have to do another advertisement looking for a replacement for her on the grievance board. Okay. So do I hear a motion to accept her resignation?
I'll second.
That's Margaret and David. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, you also have in front of you the appointments, the official. Get that keyboard out of here before I mess something up. The appointments, the position, who's filling those positions. Next page, the official designations. We still use Batavia Daily News because we have to have an official newspaper, which the Penny Saver and the Hub does not qualify. Depositories, 5 Star Bank is where we do all our checking and savings out of. Green Bank of Greene County is where we send our money for water districts 2, 3, and 4. And then New York Class, as you know, that's where we have a large portion of our money deposited for the higher interest rates. Next is the meeting times for the town board. Same as always, second Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. Town board workshop, though, I would like to discuss. I would like to have it sometime rather than 50 minutes before a meeting. Now, that's me. I don't know what your general feeling is on that. No, there's a number of things like with ARPA, water, especially ARPA. We've got to spend our ARPA funds this year, or we lose them. So, I mean, a big chunk of that is going towards the comprehensive plan committee. We're paying Labella for that, for the assistance with it. So a chunk of that is going to them. They've written a grant. Hopefully, we'll get a reimbursement from that. But the ARPA funds will go towards the comprehensive plan construction of that comprehensive plan, the new one. But there are a number of other things that we have to take a serious look at ARPA in the next few months and get that locked up and take care of a few things with that.
What is the balance of that?
Without paying Labella yet, it was just a little over 100,000. It's healthy, but we gotta use it. Without Lee being here, I don't have my usual big binder because I got to set up the new one, so I don't have those numbers with me at this time. Used to do them. We would do them like, well, you see, you have the planning board that meets the second Monday?
Second Monday.
Okay, and ZBA is the third Monday. So we had, way back, we did it the first Monday. We had our planning meeting. And then we moved it to the first Wednesday of the month. The avoidance is the first Monday of the month could be like 1 or 2 days prior to the board meeting. And then once again, trying to scramble to get answers and everything that people may have. You tell me. I was trying to avoid Wednesdays because of church.
Wednesdays are bad for me too.
Okay.
I have another. The first Wednesday.
We can do Tuesday.
So the first Tuesday and then the second Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I like having the two together only because it just puts it all in one for me. But I could probably do.
We could do. Yeah.
I mean,
That gives me 24 hours. That's the only thing. If there's something I really need. I mean, it's like, remember last board meeting I said I had written to the governor's office a couple meetings ago. I just did over the weekend. And I've got a gentleman, J.W. Cook, from the governor's office. I sent him all the engineering report, everything on Water District 10. And they've got a committee that's seriously looking at it. It bothered them the way I had worded the report to them about it, you know, being the board.
Somebody from the governor's office got back to you.
Yeah. It's the first time ever. All the times I've written to the governor's office, I just generally get that generic letter saying thank you. Yeah. So it's pleasing. And come to find out, when I told Bridget about it, she knows it's J.W. Cook. Well, that's what I need. You know, once again, it's what does everybody feel?
Next is fine with me. You're talking Tuesday?
That would be okay. So 3 out of 12. No.
Hey, George. I couldn't. The time we close up. I can make 6.
Yeah.
Tuesdays don't work out.
Yeah.
Okay, how come we're switching from Wednesday?
Well, do you want to meet? We need at least 2 hours. And 50 minutes prior to a board meeting is not sufficient time to cover a lot of the things we need to really cover.
Answer before the board meeting.
So can we do it Wednesday then, the week before?
2 people can't.
Monday?
The first Monday of the month? I have no
What do you
problem with that.
That'd be the first.
First Monday of the month.
Okay. Let's try it.
Okay.
On those
Well.
ones, you can stay with a Wednesday?
No, we gotta set it specific.
Consistent.
It's gotta stay the same. Otherwise, it's gonna be advertised. Turn your mic on, please, George.
But obviously for next week,
Wait,
will be
wait,
6 o'clock, because we're already
It's
past.
already passed, yes. So next week will be.
Next
6
week's the
o'clock.
normal, what we've been doing.
Yeah, next week we'll stay at 6. They'll be starting as of February 1st. Yeah.
They're talking about.
No, workshop only. The board meeting is next week. We said because we're already past the first Monday of the month, we'll do a workshop prior to this board meeting. Starting in February, we'll start the workshops Mondays at 6 p.m. First Monday of the month. Yeah. Well, according to this, I get the mics are up. Oh, wait a minute. Canon camera. Microphones Logitech.
Usually it pops right up.
You know, I hate this. I think I need to make a motion to hire an IT person just to run the cameras and everything. Logitech, okay, the microphone's correct. Canon camera's correct. Everything is on here. Never pushed that before, but how is it now? Maureen, check again, please.
Here we are.
Okay.
So why don't we say right now, we advertise this the first Monday of the month except for September, so that'll be it.
We just have to make that decision in August about when our next workshop would be. That's all we need to do for advertising purposes.
Just change that one date because of the holiday.
Yes. Okay, first Monday each month for workshop. Planning board is still second Monday of each month at 6:30 p.m. Zoning Board of Appeals, third Monday as needed, 7 p.m. Okay, rates of pay, though, that's what we had agreed on when we put together the 2023 budget. I'm sorry, the 2024 budget. And then the pre-approved conferences, the town clerk, assessor, water administrator, bookkeeper, training, court clerk, zoning officer, highway superintendent, and newly elected officials. Kirk, you signed up for that, correct?
Yes, next week.
Margaret, were you planning on going? You don't have to because you've already attended once. Okay.
Kirk, if you bring me back any new information, that would be great.
Okay.
And don't forget mileage. Okay? 'Cause I know you're not staying at the hotel there. Not without Alice, anyways.
Well, only if I get snowed in.
We don't need that.
Okay. Then, do I hear a resolution then for approval appointments, or is there something you got a question on?
Sean,
Yes, sir.
I didn't see it written down anywhere.
That we'll get to
Okay.
very soon.
I'll second.
Okay, that's Margaret and Kirk. All in favor?
Aye.
I don't know what the appointments were, and I guess I came in late. On the second page?
Make sure all that's
Perfect, okay.
okay. Opposed? So carried. And then the last resolution is the duties of the supervisor, which is always put down there. I got the whole thing here in case there are anybody questions. I've been questioned before on that, but it's something the state says we have to do. We have a resolution that I will follow through with my job, just like I just swore to. Insofar as the responsibility for the fiscal matters of the town, preparation of the town budget, and handling any of the businesses for the town. So, do I hear a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
You're a second? It was Dave, then Margaret. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, you got this too, which is the resignation for Shirley from the board. Okay. Now, assignments or appointments for board members. I've got down right here, Margaret. I've got you for the ambulance. And also for the ZBA, liaison to the ZBA. Kirk, I've got you down for water matters, of which I have a meeting, a Zoom meeting, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, having to do with mostly just on the parcels at Water District 10. We're just looking at, because I had found a couple of errors again on, like there's a half unit that should be a full unit.
You gonna have that, gonna do that here?
Yeah, in my office.
Okay. 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock tomorrow morning. You're also the liaison to the planning board. Dave, I have you for utilities and the park. Good. No, it's not the park. Dale and I got a meeting with Jason, but it has to do discussing some water dead ends to see about looping that in. That's Friday, I believe, Kirk. Let me do a double check right here. My calendar. There we go. Yes, 9 o'clock Friday morning, right here. Jason, Foot, Dale, you and me. Okay. George, Heritage, reporting back on that, and the comprehensive plan. Which is still probably going to take at least another 6 months yet. Okay. Planning board liaison and water. Anything having to do with town water. Although, like I said right now, Margaret is ambulance and ZBA liaison. Dave right now is assisting me with the contacting the people in Water District 10. Still, okay? Okay, the only other thing I'm going to request of everybody that for our meeting next week, I would like everybody think about it, and I would like you to bring to the table 2 goals for 2024 that you would like to see this town board accomplish in 2024. Not to the meeting, but to the workshop. Okay? I'd like that for the workshop. 2 goals for 2024 for the town board. We're already working on comprehensive plans, so that one don't count for you.
All right.
Okay, any problems with that?
I have one question about an email I sent you guys today, Sean, on the ambulance thing.
Yes.
They're not,
No, they are closing down the Cova office.
does anybody know?
It just came out early afternoon. Mercy contacted the EMS services, the EMO, Emergency Management Office, and then they rolled it out to everybody. And I forwarded to you guys right away. Excuse me. But Cova will belongs to Mercy. So the building belongs to Mercy, but they are not going to be operating out of that. Basic is going to be sitting empty, I guess. They also, under the emergency management, it's called I Am Responding, which I get on my computer as well as on my phone when calls are made, and they ask to be removed from that as well because they won't answer any calls in Orleans County.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're blowing us right off.
They're done with us. They're concentrating on Niagara County and Genesee County. So that's what we have at this time. I think it's next week, where 7 supervisors are going to be getting together on a number of different things to discuss, and I know right now that's going to be a hot topic at that meeting.
What's all our options right now if something happens inside of the town, especially this area?
The 18th.
Where would they become?
I know. I know.
If they're just not here, but if Monroe isn't available, don't they have a legal obligation?
They don't have an ambulance in the county,
But I mean, even to fill from.
but they should be able to backfill. Yes, to me, they would have a legal obligation. They can't. I don't know.
Is Bridget going to be at the workshop next week?
She'll be here. Yes.
This is a big topic. We should be asking her.
Yep.
And say,
I
you know,
sent
we didn't
that to
cover
her
it.
before I even sent it to you guys, and she was a little surprised by it as well. So it's going to be a hot topic over the next couple of weeks. The 18th, 2 weeks from now, is when I have my meeting with all the supervisors. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do there. It's ridiculous.
It's too bad we didn't have the funds to do like Medina to be able to
Well,
with maybe one or two, whether it be at the old Cova or some location central in Orleans County.
the county legislators called all the supervisors and mayors to a meeting. I think it was the second week in December. It was prior to Christmas, wanting to know where we can have shared services other than what we have with the highway departments. And we brought up a couple of items, and one of them, which really we pushed, was a county-wide ambulance service. Yeah, it's going to cost a few bucks to get her up and started because of the equipment, the truck, the ambulances themselves. But that was something we were talking about, where we would do a county-wide ambulance, not just the Medina ambulance, and that we would be funding it. The county right away said, no, 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 we're not going to handle it. So I don't know how we're going to handle it, but that's not the only part we were talking about countywide. We're also talking about countywide fire department too. You know, having the 3 battalions as they are right now. They were talking, we're talking west, central, and east, but the legislators, and it makes sense, they're talking a north battalion, central battalion, and then a south battalion. Because like us down here, being Shelby, Clarendon, and Barry, we don't have any big structures. We don't have any problems like with water rescue like they have in the 3 northern towns. You know, and the hook and ladders are needed for the LB and Medina and so on. So they're talking about north, central, and southern battalions. Yeah. No, no, southern population is, the southern towns are got smaller populations. And then central's got the largest. So this is all stuff we're supposed to be getting together again, but because of the holidays, we just kind of put it on the back burner for right now. But we're going to be getting together to talk about it, like I said, for a possibility of a countywide fire as well as countywide ambulance. Piggyback on that, how we could get people, because we know, once again, unless you pay people, we don't get the volunteers like we need to man this kind of operation. So one of the things we're talking about is getting a training session going with juniors and seniors from the high schools, talking them into it and selecting a site either at one of the schools or even at BOCES. We're planning on having a meeting where we're going to bring in the superintendents and talk to them about the possibility of training. I had a very successful firefighters program at East High School in Rochester. I've been trying to get a copy of that curriculum. It's been a few years since I was at East, and all the people that I knew are pretty much gone. But I am trying presently. I've been in contact. The U of R now has taken over. Well, the last, I don't know, 8-10 years now, the U of R has taken over East High School and running it. So trying to get a hold of a person that can get me a copy of that so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just modify it for what we have here. It's already a state-approved curriculum. So if we can get our hands on that, we plan on looking at that and then submitting this proposal to the superintendents for the firefighters, and then we modify it. We modify it for the EMS, EMT training. So that's what we're hoping to do at this time.
I know in today's world it's hard to get volunteers for anything.
Right.
The days of I want to be a good citizen, and whether it be a fire department, ambulance as well.
I can't blame a lot of the young people, and that's what we need, are younger people. But when they have young kids that are very involved in extracurricular activities, whether it's sports or 4-H or whatever, you know, drama club, It's tough when parents are running the kids all over the place. So they don't have the time. It's an exorbitant amount of training they have to go through, especially to be a firefighter. It's unbelievable. So
The one thing that some towns are doing, I was talking to my brother from Fairport. He said that volunteers get some credit towards their taxes. You know, the number of hours that they volunteer is deducted from the taxes. And that's how they keep their ambulance service going.
You know, some sort of
With volunteer, they have two professional, you know, 2 or 4 professional ambulance, and then the rest are all staffed by volunteers, which is offset by taxes, a little bit of that incentive. Income taxes?
Well,
Instead
it's-
of town tax. Income taxes? So that'd be 7.
I know the state has offered an incentive as well on the income tax. If you could get a copy of that from your brother, you know, okay, they do 200 hours, they get X number of credit, 400 hours, because some of those people, I've been at some of their awards banquets, and they got like 7, 8, 900 hours they put into training in a year. It's unreal. Those people work their butts off, and they don't get paid for any of that. I mean, it's not like when we were kids, we're all, well, I'm the old man sitting at the table here. But back then,
Everybody look at me.
you only needed like 20 or 40 hours. And today, I think it's a minimum of what, 300 hours? I'm pretty sure it's a minimum 300. It's an awful lot. So the incentive would be paid, but if you've got that, if you could get that from your brother, exactly how it's
Broke up.
yeah, how it's broken down. If he's got something in writing, I'd love to see that. Because if we can offer something here, it'd be fantastic. And I'll also, especially if you can get it to me before the 18th, when I have a meeting with the rest of the supervisors, I'll throw that down on the table to them. As a, you know, it's an incentive that all us towns could possibly do. But we're going to be looking at, we're going to have to pay firefighters and pay, well, we're paying the ambulance now. But it's ridiculous. We just don't have the coverage, the ambulance coverage that we need. And it's going to just get more expensive. So I think we just need to see what we can do here as the towns as a whole, the 10 towns and the villages.
When's the firemen, when is their meeting?
Firefighter
Yeah.
hours?
Yeah.
I think they had it last night. Let me take a quick look here.
Maybe you want to go to that meeting and ask them. They must hear things from all the other companies.
Ask them what their incentive would be. What would work for them? Would you be looking?
Well, that training is the big complaint, and it's so
Yeah.
many hours they have to do.
Their meeting was last night, fire district meeting at 7 p.m. last night.
So it's the first Tuesday.
Must be the first Tuesday of each month. Let me take a look. Yep, it's the 6th of February is their next one. At least that's what I have in my calendar.
Well, I'll be gone, Sean. that day,
Thanks, boss. So, I know there's the income tax credits. Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know about in the town, but if Fairport's offering it and they've got a blueprint that we could take a look at, it would be, you know, at least to consider.
Yes, and the income tax, you want to meet the last rate on that by 3 a year.
How many hours?
You already asked you that.
Well,
Training.
Probably for different positions.
Yeah, you have to go through firefighting training.
And then on top of that, if you're one of the EMS or EMT. Like, I know Emma goes through all that firefighting, plus she's an EMT lieutenant with the Albion Fire Department, so she does a lot of training.
I got both. You're on traffic control. I'm not showing up.
Yeah. Okay, folks, is there anything else?
Yeah.
What's
Code-
that?
code.
Our advertisement, like I said, we advertise in the Penny Saver, the Hub, and the Batavia Daily. Friday the 5th, this Friday, is the deadline for anybody to get information in. So far, unless you got anything today, Maureen. Okay, nobody has responded. I've got a couple of names from the county. I even contacted Genesee County Human Resources, and they're going to get back to me. That was before New Year's weekend. They probably got thrown off to the side because of it being a holiday weekend. I'll have to give them a call tomorrow and see if Genesee County, because I figured our county had a list, 3 names. So I've got those 3 names. I was going to contact them. A couple of other names were tossed at me from other places, other towns. So nobody has come forward, but I got names to pursue. That was the other thing. I was hoping that if we had at least a couple of names, I was thinking about interviewing them at our workshop next week prior to the board meeting so that we could select someone and appoint them at that time, but that might be pushing it right now.
What kind of qualifications that you have to have for code enforcement officer?
There's training, just like as an assessor, there's a lot of training they have to go through. Now, right now, if there's somebody willing to do the training and willing to take the time for it right now, we could hire somebody that has no experience, but they have to get right on the ball and get that training done ASAP. That's the whole thing. And then with Lee, she could help guide them a little bit. She doesn't know all the nuances of being a CEO, but insofar as paperwork and procedure and so on, she could help them out.
What are we looking at financials? Benefits for code and officer?
Well, they're part time. They don't get any benefits, but what we assign for them right here, 19,868.
19,868.
Yeah, it's right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
John, the county is offering them the test the middle of this month,
Yes, they are.
so we may have to kind of see who's up next.
Well, we could find out prior to that because they have a deadline to sign up. We could find out whether or not anybody has signed up to
Yeah.
take the
The
test.
deadline
Deadline was in December. Okay.
Right.
But
Yep.
that's for them to take the civil service exam for it. And for them, that's if they're looking for a full-time position too. We don't need someone off the list for a part-time position. It can be anybody.
I think
They're all
That's
scratched but
probably-
3 at this time.
yeah, they were ones that
Well, that's because no town other than the villages
could have
are looking for a full-time position. So that's why I've contacted other towns trying to find, can we share a CEO? But their CEOs are already tied up with other towns, not just in Orleans County, but like in Monroe County or over in Niagara County. So it's tough to find somebody, but we can't go too long without a CEO.
What do we do now if somebody came in for,
Right now, Shelley is still officially on the books until this Friday.
okay, Saturday?
Yeah, so we the time being, that's what we're saying. We are in between and
Be patient.
nothing needs to be today. As soon as we can have someone on the books, they will be addressing any situation.
It could be a zone officer from another town if they wanted to do it part-time. I mean,
Yes.
It doesn't have to be just there.
It would be better that way. Well, as
Well-
far as a special use permit, that has to go in front of the planning board anyway.
Right, that's
So that would
kind of,
take a
especially with
little
that,
while.
that's why I said, it didn't have to be that night. As we get closer to spring, people looking for building permits, yeah, then it's gonna be more crucial. But being that it is winter, I would say right now, it doesn't have to be today, but as soon as possible. Deal with it.
I know in the past,
We do have some firemen listening now. It was only me on YouTube. You have firemen listening in now, 3 of them, and they do get money off of their income tax, regardless of training.
back to the building, Chamberlain used to hang the 2 times we went in the past. You know, a simple permit.
Chamberlain would do
Fortune
the
Sean.
permit.
Our Chamberlain,
Well, that was
Yeah.
prior to Shelley, right?
yeah,
And Shelley's been our CEO for like 20 years.
I don't remember.
I know he
his name.
cleared some, he gave some, in the end, went to the house after the permit, where they the
C of
opening
O.
date, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see a C of O issued by a certified.
Yes.
individual. I would say it should not be the supervisor unless they are also a certified.
But he did it.
Well,
I'm not arguing that he did it. I'm saying I do not advise anyone to do that.
I don't want to take the heat on that if I overlook something and comes back to bite me in the arse.
That's the reason for the system. State code.
I don't know those codes. Okay, so I'll keep you abreast of what I find out, especially on a CEO. I want to get somebody ASAP. We need to, so they can get in here, start going through Shelley's stuff, getting organized prior to the deluge that usually comes in the springtime when people all of a sudden start thinking, okay, I want to build a little pole barn here, or I want to put an addition there. So we need to get somebody in and acclimated, and if it's somebody who hasn't been a CEO, they need to get their training done. So that's where we're at with a CEO at this time. Okay? Anything else? Wow. 45 minutes, folks. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah,
A move to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Okay. George and Margaret? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday next week for the workshop at 6 p.m. with your 2 suggestions. Push that green button, please, for me.